All right, thank you. You may be seated.
All right, I'm just going to do a brief introduction, Judge. Welcome to the 2025 championship trial of Battle of the Experts. I'm going to let our jurors introduce themselves at the end of the trial, but I'm going to introduce our presiding judge right now. This is Judge Dan Anders. Judge Anders has been a judge in Philadelphia since 2007. He's now the administrative judge of the trial division here in Philadelphia. But Judge Anders' real claim to fame, the first words that I ever spoke in any trial were in front of Judge Anders, so we're really lucky to have him here today. With that, Judge, it's your courtroom.
Very good. Counsel, starting with the plaintiff, can you introduce yourselves?
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon. My name is Ria Debnoff. Today, I'm joined at counsel table by Ms. Lanaya Davidson.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Okay.
Together, we represent the plaintiff, the family of Marique New Barnes.
All right, it's Ms. Davidson, and I'm sorry, your name, can you spell your last name?
Of course, Your Honor. Debnoff, D-E-B-N-A-T-H.
Okay, terrific. And counsel?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Allison Jordan, and alongside my co-counsel, Melina Lettieri, we represent the defendant in today's case, Thomas R. Klein High School. We have a notice of appearance for Your Honor, if my co-counsel can approach the bench and hand one to you.
Of course. And Ms. Jordan, I'm sorry, your name is again?
Melina Lettieri,
Can you spell the last name?
L-E-T-T-I-E-R-I. Permission to approach the jury with the same?
Yes, thank you. Anything that either one of you wish to discuss before we start?
Yes, Your Honor. The plaintiff does have a few housekeeping matters. Can we get into those now?
Yes.
Your Honor, since in this jurisdiction we're not allowed to approach the bench, may we assume that all objections are heard constructively outside the earshot of the jury?
Of course.
Your Honor, we've also stipulated to pre-admit a number of exhibits. I'll list those now. 1, 3, 5, 8A, 8B, and 10. We offer those at this time.
Very good. Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Your Honor, the parties also had a productive meet and confer, and because the defendant has elected to drop the assumption of risk defense, we moved to exclude Exhibit 2, and they agreed to that stipulation, so Exhibit 2 will not be used in this trial.
Very good.
Your Honor, do we have permission to use Exhibits 1 and 3 in opening statements? Those are two of those pre-admitted ones.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Very good.
And lastly, Your Honor, once an exhibit has been admitted into evidence, should we ask permission every time before we publish it to the jury, or should we just ask the first time?
You can just ask the first time.
Thank you, Your Honor. With that, we're ready to proceed to openings after the defense's housekeeping.
Okay, Ms. Jordan or Ms. Lettieri?
Yes, Your Honor. May we have free leave of the courtroom?
Yes, ma'am.
May we assume all witnesses are pre-sworn today?
Yes, ma'am.
Both the plaintiff and the defense plan to admit experts today. Would you like us to formally tender those experts or lay the foundation and move on?
You should tender them. Thank you.
The defense moves to invoke Rule 615 of witness sequestration with the exception of the defense's expert, Omega Adams, and the plaintiff's expert, Kensington Cotter.
Very good.
The defense also is putting the court on notice that the case today is a bifurcated trial and we are only trying the liability phase and will not be getting into damages. And as the plaintiff mentioned, we are dropping the assumption of the risk affirmative defense today, and with that, we would like the verdict form to be constructively redacted as to question number 3.
Very good.
Your Honor, we also had a successful meet and confer with plaintiff's counsel, and they have agreed not to go into the subsequent remedial measure. By way of background, this case involves a 14-year-old freshman that was injured during a football game, and they have now brought a suit against Thomas R. Klein High School for negligence. After the incident, Thomas R. Klein refused to run the play again, and as a subsequent remedial measure, they have agreed to not mention that in today's trial.
Very good.
That's our agreement, Your Honor.
And your witnesses have been so instructed.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor. And with that, we are ready to proceed to motions, Your Honor.
Very good.
Your Honor, the defense does have one substantive motion in limine today, and our motion concerns anticipated testimony concerning Coach Jackie Powell's character. Specifically, the defense anticipates that the plaintiff will attempt to elicit testimony regarding Coach Jackie Powell's lack of concern for player safety. Because the only use of this evidence could be shown for propensity purposes, it is inadmissible under Rule 404 as it is inadmissible character evidence.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Your Honor. During our meet and confer before trial, counsel did tell us about this motion, and we agreed that we're not going to get into any kind of derisive comments that the coach yelled at the students, no insults, no instances of the coach throwing his hat down in anger. But as to the rest of Coach Powell yelling specific instructions, Your Honor, that evidence is not a past act being used to show character for propensity purposes. We're not using evidence of the coach yelling at a different student on a different year to show that he was aggressive or lacked concern for his students in general, but rather that he yelled a specific instruction to this player on the dates in question in this case. It's not character evidence.
What is the instruction that was issued?
Yes, Your Honor. The instruction was that the defendant coach yelled, "Get lower, get lower, get lower" to Marique.
Very good.
Response, Your Honor. Under Rule 404, it does not have to be a past incident to prove character. It's just any action or any incident. Here, the defense is perfectly okay with the plaintiff going into the fact that Marique was instructed to get lower and lower. However, the plaintiff does not need to characterize this as the coach yelling at Marique to get lower and lower. Because by characterizing it as yelling, the jury will hear that and they will be able to form an opinion then that Coach Powell had a lack of concern for player safety, and that goes to conformity and propensity purposes, and that is inadmissible.
Very good. I will deny your motion, and you may characterize the instruction whatever way you think is appropriate.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, with that, the defense is ready to proceed into opening statements.
Very good. And Ms. Debnath and Ms. Davidson.
Yes, Your Honor, we're ready to move into opening statements. We'll just take a moment to set up the well.
Of course. Counsel, you may proceed.
They used a boy as a battering ram. It's a typical Tuesday in August on a high school football field. The players are sweating in the summer sun. But Coach Jackie Powell is sweating for a different reason. He's afraid for his job. You see, Coach Powell has only won 2 games in the last 2 years. He looks over to his quarterback. The boy's only 5'2". Coach Powell thinks he's too small to win. But he has an idea for a new play. He calls the offense over, turns to his quarterback. I need you to go head first. Lead with the crown of your head. Turns to his teammates. I need you all to push him from behind like a human battering ram. This is Marique Nabarnes, the quarterback. He was 14. The evidence will show that no other coach, not in the NFL, not in college, not in high school, the evidence will show no other coach anywhere has done to their quarterback what this defendant did to Marique. The evidence will show that after Marique ran that new play, he was left paralyzed from the neck down. That's why Marique and his family are suing the defendant, Klein High School, for negligence. Because they used this boy as a battering ram. We have the burden to prove more likely than not that the defendant was negligent and that caused Marique's injury. We'll meet that burden today because of 3 simple facts. They picked the smallest kid. They made him lead with his head. Their decisions left him paralyzed. So let's start with that first fact. They picked the smallest kid. You'll hear from an expert today who will tell you that smaller players are more likely to get hurt, especially when paired up against much larger players. You'll learn that Marique, he wasn't just small for a freshman. He was small for a quarterback, too. 5'2", 109 pounds. You'll hear that the defendant's head coach called him tiny. You'll learn that no player this small has ever run a play like this. Which brings us to the second fact. They made that tiny kid lead with his head. To understand this case, we need to talk about a play. The quarterback sneak push. Quarterback, because he has the ball. Sneak, because he's just trying to sneak forward a few yards. And push, because his teammates push him from behind. Some people call it the tush push. Here in Philly, the brotherly shove, because no one runs it better than the Eagles. Last fall, the defendant started to run the sneak push. And I want to be very clear, we are not saying there is anything wrong with the sneak push. You will learn that no other quarterback had ever been injured running a sneak push. But you'll also learn the defendant changed the play, called it the Marique sneak. The defendant's assistant coach will take the stand and testify to how Coach Powell instructed the team. That he showed a photo of the Eagles quarterback running the play safely with the chest mostly upright. Then said, "We're not going to run it like this. Marique, I need your chest, neck, and head lower until it's parallel to the ground. And then 3 of you will come behind and push him like a human battering ram." Members of the jury, those aren't my words. You'll hear from an eyewitness, those are the words of the defendant's head coach. To use the boy as a battering ram. You'll learn that no quarterback has ever been as low as the defendant had Marique get. And Dr. Kensington Cotter will explain to you why. She's the only sports medicine expert you're going to hear from today. She'll tell you that having a child that young and that small run headfirst while being pushed from behind, it's incredibly dangerous, far beyond the normal risks of football, because it substantially increases the risks of a spinal cord injury. Which brings us to the third fact. Their decisions left Marique paralyzed. You'll learn that the first 4 times Marique ran this play, his coach yelled at him, "Lower, lower, lower," grabbed his helmet, forced it lower. But on September 9th, for the first time, Marique ran it as low as his coach demanded. You'll learn that he suffered the exact kind of injury you would expect from running head first. Fractured his spine, paralyzed forever. Members of the jury, we acknowledge football is dangerous, it's violent, people can get hurt, but the evidence will show what the defendant did was make football more dangerous. When they took the smallest kid on the field and rammed him headfirst into players twice his size. At the end of trial, we'll ask that you find the defendant liable for Marique's injury because they used a boy as a battering ram. Thank you.
And Ms. Jordan?
Why do bad things happen to good people? Sometimes an accident is just that. Accidental, unexpected, unpredictable. And you cannot prevent what you cannot predict. Klein is home to Jackie Powell. He has taught and coached football there for almost 10 years. He has spent the past decade pouring into his students and wants to spend the next decade doing the same thing. But ever since Jackie Powell became the head coach of Klein's freshman football team, they haven't been performing well. The past 2 seasons, the team has gone 1-9, and honestly, Coach Powell knows that in order to keep doing what he loves at the place he loves, something is going to have to change. And that change is going to have to be the offense. The freshman team has to score more points. So like any other high school and Pop Warner football coach, Jackie Powell and his offensive coordinator, Al Clooney, are locked in to college and NFL teams. So when they need to make a change to their team's playbook, they look to the pros. You see, the past few seasons, college and NFL teams have been running the quarterback sneak push. It's a play used by the offense when they only need to gain a yard or two. And you will learn that NFL teams have had a lot of success running this play, especially the Philadelphia Eagles. And as Eagles fans themselves, Coach Powell and Coach Clooney recognize just how much potential this play actually has. They at least have to try it. And with Marique Newbrands entering into his freshman year and joining the team, Klein might actually have the players they need to make the QB sneak push work. Marique has raw talent. He has grit, he's a hard worker, and he's got a rocket arm. He has all of the makings of a star quarterback. But he's small. He's 5'2", barely 109 pounds. Now, obviously, Klein's freshman football team are not grown men like NFL athletes. So you will learn, in order to make the quarterback sneak push safe and effective, Coach Powell is going to have to make a few adjustments. NFL quarterbacks are strong. They're nearly double Marique's weight and can withstand hits from the defensive line that Coach Powell just knows Marique can't. So in order for Marique to avoid those dangerous hits, you will learn that Coach Powell comes up with an idea that he thinks might actually work. Marique needs to get low, really low. So low that he shoots through the defensive line like a spear before they even get a chance to tackle him. Coach Powell runs this play with those changes at practice on August 20th. And it works. It works the first time they run it, the second time they run it, the third time they run it. But when Klein runs the QB sneak push in its first game of the season, Marique doesn't get low enough. And he fails to break through the defensive line like he had each time at practice. Coach Powell's disappointed. In his mind, this play only works if it's ran the way he designed it. For this team, for this quarterback, for Marique. So when the team suits up for practice on September 9th, Coach Powell has them run the play again. And this time, Marique does get low enough. He does exactly what he's supposed to do. But unfortunately, as you've just heard, Marique doesn't get back up. Marique suffered a spinal injury that day. An injury that devastated the Klein community and Marique. What happened on September 9th is a tragedy. No one here is denying that today. Everyone knows that football is dangerous, but no one expects to sustain a life-altering injury, especially not on a play like this. You will learn that nothing like this has happened before, and nothing like this has happened since. Because while the quarterback sneak push may be a relatively new play, it has been run across the country, from high school to college to the NFL. You will learn that no one has been injured running this play at the high school or college level, and despite the NFL running it hundreds of times, there have only ever been 2 injuries. Both of those injuries were minor, and neither of them happened to a quarterback. Klein's coaches did what coaches are supposed to do: teach, prepare, give their athletes a chance to succeed. Klein was looking forward to watching Marique succeed. And just because he was injured at a practice does not erase the fact that sometimes accidents just happen. Look, it's natural to want to find someone to blame when an accident as tragic as this happens. But there's no one to blame here. Klein's coaches could not prevent what they could not predict. And the law doesn't require them to. The law did not require that Klein's coaches predict an unforeseeable tragedy, but rather that they acted reasonably under the circumstances. You will learn today that Klein's coaches did act reasonably under the circumstances. Because Klein's coaches could not prevent what they could not predict. Which is why at the end of this trial, my co-counsel, Melina Lettieri, will stand before you and ask that you find Thomas R. Klein High School not liable.
All right, Ms. Debnath, Ms. Davison, your first witness.
Yes, Your Honor. The plaintiff calls Al Clooney.
Mr. Clooney, can you step out here? Raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, I do.
And state your name for the spelling, your last name for the record, please.
Al Clooney, Clooney.
Very good. You may proceed, Ms. Davidson.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Could you introduce yourself to the jury?
Good afternoon. I'm Al Clooney.
What do you do for a living?
I'm the head coach of the JV football team at Epstein High School, right here in Philly.
Are you familiar with the defendant, Klein High School?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
How?
I used to work there. I was the offensive coordinator on their freshman team.
Did you know a boy named Marique New Barnes?
I did.
How?
He was the quarterback on our freshman team.
Your Honor, I'm showing what's been pre-admitted into evidence as Exhibit 1. May I display to the witness and jury?
Yes.
When Marique was your player, how old was he?
14 years old.
How tall?
5'2",
How much did he weigh?
110 pounds.
When was the last time you saw Marique on the football field?
September 9th, 2024.
Without getting graphic, can you explain what happened?
Sure. We were practicing. We ran a play, and he got hurt. He ended up paralyzed.
What was the name of the play Marique was running when he was paralyzed?
The Marique sneak.
Let's start at the beginning. Who was the head coach of the freshman football team at Klein?
Jackie Powell was.
Who decided which plays the team would run?
Coach Powell.
Who decided to run the Marique sneak?
Coach Powell.
And let's talk about the design of the play. What type of play is the Marique sneak?
It's a quarterback sneak push.
And for those who are not familiar with football, can you just explain what a quarterback sneak push is?
Sure. It's a short yardage situation, 4th down and 1. Quarterback gets the ball, tries to push himself forward into the offensive line just so he can get that 1 yard, get a new set of downs.
When Coach Powell was choosing to run the Marique sneak, did he give Marique any materials to help him learn it?
Yeah. I mean, we had our playbook that had the play in it, and then he showed him a photo of the Eagles running.
If you had an enlarged version of the playbook, would that help you explain the play?
Yeah, of course.
May Mr. Clooney step down and make use of an enlarged version of pre-admitted Exhibit 3?
Of course.
Okay, looking here at Exhibit 3, what do the triangles represent?
Triangles are the defenders.
Who's the square?
That's the center.
What about the circles?
The circles are the other offensive players. These ones are the offensive line. That's the quarterback, running backs, tight end.
So which one of these shapes would be Marique?
Marique would be this circle right here behind the square.
Right, using Exhibit 3, explain to us how the sneak push would work.
Sure. So the square, the center, starts with the ball. Quarterback sets height, center snaps him the ball. Quarterback tries to push in between these two offensive linemen. As he does that, those two running backs and that tight end, they push him forward into the offensive line to try to get that first down. Of course, the defenders, they don't want that. So they cave in on that spot to try to stop it.
I'm showing you what's already in evidence as Exhibit 8B. Your Honor, would you like a copy?
Yes, thank you.
And may I hand one to the jury?
Of course.
Okay. Looking at Exhibit 8B, can you tell us what the photo is?
Sure. This is a photo of the Eagles running the touch push.
Where's the quarterback?
Quarterback's right here. You can kind of see the ball in his hands right there. That's Jalen Hurts.
The angle of the quarterback in this photo, is that the angle that Coach Powell told Marique to take?
No.
How did Coach Powell say he wanted it to be different?
He wanted Marique low.
How low?
So low that his head and his body were
when Marik's head and body were parallel to the ground, which part of his body was pointing forwards?
His head.
Okay, so turning back to Exhibit 3. If Marik has his head going forward, parallel to the ground, how many people are pushing him from behind?
These three back here.
Thank you. You can take your seat again, and I can take that from you. So if in the Marik sneak, Marik is supposed to get low, what, if anything, did Coach Powell do to make sure Marik ran it that way?
Yelled at him to get lower, and at one point he grabbed him by the helmet and yanked him down so he could see how low he wanted him to be.
And again, that position with Marik low, parallel to the ground, head first, pushing from behind. What words did Coach Powell use to describe that position?
He told him that he would be a human battering ram.
So did you ever express any concerns about this play?
Yes, I did.
What did you say?
I said I thought it was dangerous. I didn't think it was safe.
Then let's talk about whether or not it was safe to use Marik as a battering ram. How many times did Marik run the Marik sneak?
It's 5 times total.
How many times did Marik get as low as Coach Powell wanted him to?
Only once.
Those other 4 times when Marik didn't get low enough, what did Coach Powell do?
Told Marik to get lower.
When was the one time Marik got as low as Coach Powell demanded?
September 9th, 2024.
Thank you. No further questions.
And Ms. Jordan?
Coach Clooney, you have never played a single down of tackle football in your life.
No, ma'am, it wasn't for me.
You were a water boy,
I was. I'm proud of it.
and then you coached flag football.
Yeah, when I was in high school.
All of your experience with football comes from coaching
Yes, you're right.
or watching football.
Yeah, big fan.
And because you watch football, you know that it can be dangerous.
Of course.
It is a contact sport, after all.
That's right.
And because of that, players wear safety gear.
Yeah, they do.
They wear knee pads,
Yes, ma'am.
hip pads,
Yes, they do.
shoulder pads.
Yes,
They even wear a helmet.
of course.
And even with all of that safety gear, players still get injured
They do.
at every level,
Yes,
in every game,
that's right, unfortunately.
on every type of play.
Can happen, yeah.
There have been injuries running the QB sneak push.
There have.
2 injuries.
That I'm aware of, yes.
Both of those injuries were minor,
Yeah, I think it was a shoulder and knee injury.
and neither of those injuries happened to a quarterback.
No, it was the center and the tight end.
Both of those injuries actually occurred in the exact same game,
That's right.
during the exact same run of the play.
That's right.
You were not aware of any other injuries that have been reported while running the QB sneak push.
No.
Now, you're also aware of an organization called the NFHS.
I am.
It's a national organization.
Yes,
Now, the NFHS has banned the quarterback sneak push.
they have.
But that's not the entirety of what the NFHS is.
No.
It's an entire rule book
Yeah, they set out guidelines.
that just happens to contain the QB sneak push.
Yes, that's right.
And states can choose whether or not they adopt the NFHS.
Yeah, that's right.
Pennsylvania has not adopted the NFHS.
No, not at the time we ran the play. I mean, they can pick.
Pennsylvania had not banned the QB sneak push when you ran the play.
You're right about that.
And part of the reason for the NFHS ban was for competitive balance.
Yeah, I think so.
It was to level the playing field.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about when you ran the QB sneak push. You ran it at practice
We did.
on August 20th.
That's right. We ran it 3 times that day.
Right, you ran it 3 times, and every one of those times, play ran well.
Yeah, I mean, that was. It didn't run exactly how Coach Powell wanted it, but it ran okay.
Marique got the yard.
He did.
And every single one of those times, Marique was never injured.
No, I don't think so.
Klein then ran the QB sneak push in a game
We did.
against Robert Little High School.
That's right.
Marique was not injured in that game.
No.
No one was injured running the play in that game.
No, but we didn't run it right in that game. We didn't get the yard.
In fact, there has been no instance other than the one we're here about today of a quarterback being injured running the QB sneak push.
No.
Not in high school,
No.
not in college,
That's right.
not even in the NFL.
That's right. I don't know of any other injuries than the 2 we've already discussed.
This is the only instance of a QB being injured running this play.
That I know of, yes.
Thank you. No further questions.
Ms. Davidson?
No redirect.
Very good. Mr. Clooney, you may take a seat.
Thank you.
And your next witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Excuse me. The plaintiff calls Kensington Cotter.
Dr. Cotter? Can you raise your right hand? Do you swear affirm to tell the truth?
I do.
And state your name for the record, spelling your last name.
Kensington Cotter, Cotter.
And Ms. Debnath, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Can you introduce yourself to the members of the jury?
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Kensington Cotter.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a medical doctor. I specialize in sports medicine.
What is sports medicine?
It's the field dedicated to treating and preventing sports injuries. Sports can be dangerous. And sports medicine tries to make them safer.
How are you involved in this case?
I was asked to determine what caused Marique Nubarance's paralysis.
Doctor, before we get into your conclusions, I want the jury to hear about your qualifications. What degrees do you hold?
I hold a bachelor's degree in biology from UC Berkeley, and I earned my medical degree from UCLA.
Are you certified?
I am, in sports medicine.
How long have you been working in sports medicine?
About 11 years now.
Doctor, can you summarize your professional experience in the field?
So currently, I'm the attending physician of sports medicine at the Cedars-Sinai Hospital. I'm also a clinical professor of sports medicine at my alma mater, UCLA, and I work as a team doctor for UCLA Athletics.
Let's get specific. What experience do you have with spinal cord injuries?
I've treated over 100 patients who have spinal injuries.
And football? What experience do you have there?
Well, part of my work as a team doctor at UCLA is being a consulting physician for our football team. I've been doing that for about 8 seasons now.
Have you ever studied a play called the QB sneak push specifically?
I have. I've published an article about the safety and dangers of this play in the American Journal of Sports Medicine.
And doctor, have you won any awards in your field?
I have. The past 3 years, I've been named by LA Magazine the top sports medicine doctor.
All right, let's talk about how you formed your conclusions. What information did you rely on?
I reviewed all of the exhibits in this case. I focused on medical records and the depositions of Marique's coaches.
Is that kind of information typically relied upon by experts in your field?
Yes.
What methods did you use?
I examined the axial load that the defendant's play put on Marique's spinal cord.
What is axial load?
It's force that's applied to the axis of the spinal cord.
Were you able to reach a conclusion to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty?
Yes, I was.
Your Honor, we tender Dr. Cotter as an expert in sports medicine.
Very good. Ms. Lettieri?
No objection, Your Honor.
Very good. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'll give you instructions at the end of the trial as to how to review and consider expert testimony, but Dr. Cotter is hereby deemed an expert by this court. You may proceed.
Dr. Cotter, what was Marique's injury?
It was axial overload, or too much force on the spine.
Did his spine fracture?
Yes, the force, it fractured his vertebrae and it caused paralysis from the neck down.
What caused that axial overload, fracturing his spine?
Was the way that the defendant designed the play. Specifically, the angle they had, the quarterback's spine, and then the player they had as quarterback.
Doctor, let's break that down. When you say the design of the defendant's play caused Marique's axial overload, what play are we talking about?
It was the quarterback sneak push. We've seen the Eagles run it a million times. They called it the Marique sneak at Klein High School.
You said the Eagles have run it a million times. What do we know about the injury rates for the quarterback sneak push?
Before this instance, I'm not aware of any injuries that a quarterback has faced on this play.
So how can you criticize the defendant for running this play?
Coach Powell, the head coach, he changed the play. He changed the angle of Marique's spine in it.
Doctor, would a visual aid help you explain that conclusion to the jury?
Yes.
Your Honor, may Dr. Cotter step down and make use of Exhibit 7? We'll be using it purely for demonstrative purposes.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Doctor, come and join me down here. I'll hand you this. What are we looking at?
This is a model human spine.
You said that you were concerned about axial load. Can you show us what kind of force would create an axial load on the spine?
The spine faces axial load if it sustains a force from the top, pushing the vertebrae down, or sustains a force from the bottom, pushing the vertebrae up.
What was the angle at which NFL teams ran this play with no serious injuries?
NFL teams keep their quarterbacks fairly upright, head tilted forward, but still up. Now there's still a risk of axial load in this position, but not all of the force is pushing at the ends because this player can still get hit from the front or the back.
Now show the jury what the defendant had Marique do.
The defendant had Marique get lower and lower until he was parallel with the ground. Coach Powell told Marique he would be a human battering ram.
Doctor, from what you reviewed, that position, spine parallel to the ground, do any other teams run it that way?
None.
Is that position safe?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
Well, this increases axial load.
Can you show us how the defendant's play increased axial load?
Would you hold this for me?
Sure, Doctor.
So by having Marique position leading with the crown of his head, defensive players are hitting him in the head. But the defendant compounded that injury by having 3 offensive players pushing Marique from behind. They designed a play that literally took Marique's spine and squeezed it from both ends.
Thank you, Doctor. You can retake your seat. Dr. Cotter, what kind of injuries would we expect from the axial load you just demonstrated for us?
Spinal cord compression and possible paralysis.
How did the hospital describe Marique's injury?
Spinal cord compression and paralysis.
Well, I want to push back for a second. Is the defendant's design of the play the only way a football player can get a spinal cord injury?
No, of course not.
So how can you say that the defendant's design caused Marique's spinal cord injury?
The way the defendant designed this play substantially increased the risk of a spinal cord injury.
Let's turn to the second half of your conclusions. What made Marique the wrong player for this play?
He was too small.
Why does that matter?
Size imbalances can cause injuries. If you're being tackled by someone much larger than you, you can get hurt. According to Coach Powell, at the time Marique was playing on this team and on the field that day, the other players weighed 200 pounds. Marique was barely half.
Doctor, so far, you've talked about your two conclusions separately. Can you put them together for the jury?
The defendant designed a play that was unsafe for a quarterback of any size. And then they ran it on a quarterback who was undersized. Those decisions caused Marique's paralysis.
Thank you, Dr. Cotter. Your Honor, I've got nothing further at this time.
Very good, counsel.
Yes, Your Honor, just a moment to prepare the well.
Very good.
Dr. Cotter, can you see this whiteboard?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Dr. Cotter, you talked a lot about your qualifications on direct, so I want to start by talking about your practice.
Okay.
You do work with patients that have spine injuries,
Yes, like I said.
but spinal cord injuries, they are not your specialty.
Not that narrow, no, but I've treated over 100 patients who've come in with spinal injuries.
Dr. Cotter, you are not a neurologist.
No, ma'am.
You hold no certifications in neurology.
Not neurology. My focus is sports medicine.
Well, doctor, you're also not a neurosurgeon.
No, ma'am.
Hold no certifications in neurosurgery.
Like I said, I do not.
You have never performed surgery on a spine before.
No, I have not done practice in surgery itself. I deal with the intake of patients and their treatment up to the point of surgery.
Well, thank you for that, doctor. But here you are today testifying about what could have prevented a spinal cord injury.
Yes, I would say so. Certainly a piece of the prevention and also assessing what occurred.
And this spinal cord injury, it occurred in an athlete.
Yes,
You work with athletes
I do.
once a week.
Approximately.
Dr. Cotter, you claim that Klein did not adequately prepare to run the QB sneak push.
I would say so, yes. Their version that they ran, I believe they only ran it 5 times.
Well, thank you for that, Dr. Cotter, but I didn't ask you about how many times they ran it. I just simply asked you that you claim they did not adequately prepare to run the QB sneak push.
Exactly.
They did not conduct research on it.
No.
Dr. Cotter, let's talk about the lack of research you based your opinion on.
Objection, Your Honor. Excuse me, I'll move so you can see me. Argumentative.
Your Honor, I'm not arguing. I'm just asking Dr. Cotter a question.
Overruled. You may proceed.
Dr. Cotter, one of your opinions is that the QB sneak push was not safe.
That's right.
So Klein should not have been running the QB sneak push.
Well, and specifically the version they ran of it.
Well, thank you, Dr. Cotter, but I didn't ask you about the specific version they ran. Your opinion is that they should not have run the QB sneak push.
Right.
Your other opinion is that Klein did not practice the play enough.
Exactly.
So Klein should have ran the play more.
Well, ma'am, it's a spectrum here. They shouldn't have run it the way they ran it. And they should have prepared more, certainly, like the research you mentioned.
Dr. Cotter, I didn't ask you about any of that. I asked you that your other opinion is that they should have ran it more.
There's always a degree of practice they should have increased here.
So that's a yes.
Exactly, yes.
Well, Dr. Cotter, which one is it? Should they have not run the play at all, or should they have run it more?
Like I said, ma'am, it's a spectrum here.
Either way, Dr. Cotter, you claim they did not conduct research.
Yes, I found no evidence that they tried to look into this play.
Well, let's talk about the data that was available at the time they ran the play.
Okay.
You would agree this play is relatively new.
Within the last 4 seasons, I would say so. Yes.
The Eagles were the first team to run it.
Yes.
They started running this play in 2022,
That sounds right. Yes.
3 years ago.
Yes.
Your Honor, permission to use the whiteboard as a demonstrative?
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Cotter, prior to the 2024-2025 season, the QB sneak push had been run 215 times in the NFL.
The NFL's version of this play?
Yes.
Yes, the NFL's version, they'd run it a few hundred times.
Now, during 2023, there were 2 injuries in the NFL associated with the QB sneak push.
Yes, that's correct.
This was the data that was available at the time that Klein chose to run the QB sneak push.
For the NFL, that's correct.
This was the only data that was available.
Well, that's right. It hadn't been run at the high school level at all.
Well, I'm not asking you about the high school level, Dr. Cotter. I'm asking you about the NFL level.
I apologize, ma'am. Yes, the NFL level in their version? Yes, that's correct.
Yet your opinion was that Klein should have conducted more research.
Well, absolutely. This was the first high school team to run this type of play in their version.
Well, Dr. Cotter, this was the only data out there regarding that QB sneak push.
Regarding the NFL's version, yeah.
And the data that was there showed that the NFL's version was pretty safe.
Their version, yes.
Now, after the 2024-2025 season, the play was run a total of 316 times.
Yes, that is correct.
During that season, there were no injuries associated with the QB sneak push at the NFL level.
At the NFL level, that is correct.
So there were only ever 2 injuries at the NFL level associated with this play.
Yes.
And Dr. Cotter, those 2 injuries, they were minor injuries.
I apologize. I didn't hear you. Could you say that one more time?
Those 2 injuries were minor.
I believe it was one in the arm and one in the leg. Yes.
Right. A dislocated shoulder,
Yes.
a sprained knee.
Yes. I'm not sure I would call those minor, but those were them.
Well, Dr. Cotter, neither of those injuries resulted in paralysis.
No, they did not.
Neither of those injuries were to a quarterback.
That's correct.
But other NFL plays and football plays have resulted in paralysis
Certainly.
because football is a contact sport.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Cotter. I have no further questions. Your Honor, permission to preserve the whiteboard as Defense's Exhibit A?
That's fine. And Ms. Stedman?
Yes, Your Honor. If you could actually leave that up, please.
Of course.
Thank you. I'll move this just a little bit back. May I redirect, Your Honor?
Yes?
Dr. Cotter, on cross-examination, you were asked about statistics regarding the quarterback sneak push. What version of the play are these statistics for?
All of the statistics on this board here are regarding the NFL in the version that they ran.
Did the defendant run a different version?
Yes. Like I showed with the spinal cord, they changed the play by having Marie get lower.
Thank you, Dr. Cotter. Your Honor, I've got nothing further at this time.
Very good.
Unless there's any recross, may Dr. Cotter be excused?
No recross, Your Honor.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Carter. You are excused.
Just a brief moment, Your Honor. Your Honor, with that, the plaintiff rests our case in chief.
Very good. Why don't we take a break? Do you have a motion?
Your Honor, I do have a motion.
Very good.
The defense moves under Rule 50 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure for a judgment as a matter of law, even when viewing the evidence in the light most favorable to the non-moving party, here the plaintiff. No reasonable juror could find through a preponderance of the evidence that Klein was negligent or that alleged negligence caused Marique's injury. We heard on testimony today, Al Clooney was not aware of a single injury to a quarterback that resulted from this play. And similarly, Dr. Cotter testified that there also was no injury on record of a quarterback being injured while running the quarterback sneak push. Therefore, Klein High School could not be aware that this play would cause this injury to Marique, and therefore this motion is due to be granted.
Very good. And counsel?
Yes, Your Honor. Under Federal Rules of Civil Procedure number 50, we have to view the evidence in the light most favorable to the non-moving party, the plaintiff. In doing so, a reasonable juror could come to the conclusion that we've met our burden. We had to prove negligence and causation, as opposing counsel mentioned, and we've done both. We've proven negligence by showing, as Dr. Cotter stated, that the defendant took a safe version of this play, seeing how the Eagles ran it with no serious injuries, and modified the play, changed the play, and ultimately Marique was paralyzed. We've proven causation because Al Clooney testified that they ran this play only 5 times, this modified version, and the 5th time Marique was paralyzed. Under that evidence, a reasonable juror could find for the plaintiff.
Very good. Any further response?
I just stand on my previous grounds, Your Honor.
Very good. The motion is denied. Why don't we take a 10-minute recess? We'll come back in 10 minutes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
But if you want to come back here, go to shop, and then it doesn't bother me. Okay. So, all right, I appreciate whatever you want. Good so far. I have to remind myself that they're. You lost them. Just go straight through. Oh, I bet. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
This makes me feel good.
Yeah. Good to see you.
Drexel? Ah, excellent.
It's always nice covering these events.
Yeah.
How to feel when I was a student.
You have your first graduate is going to be joining our bench in January. Kia Gee.
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
So
20, I mean, yeah, we're coming up on the 20-year anniversary, so.
somebody had to be first.
Yeah.
Yeah. I look forward to working with her. I teach one class usually in the spring,
Okay.
called Pennsylvania Practice, and it focuses on Pennsylvania civil procedure.
I have to ask, have you updated your adjunct profile anytime recently?
My what, Judge Rob?
Your adjunct professor
Oh,
profile.
I don't think it's very detailed. Is
Yeah,
it?
no, just like 3 sentences.
Yeah. Do you want me to? Okay. So.
No, when I'm not taking photos, I'm usually like asking people to give me information about very specific things.
Yeah. Well, market the hell out of Judge Gee. She comes on. That'd be good. I had a case with Tom Klein. In fact, I think Phil may have been on trial with Tom, and Tom was objecting to the other side using a PowerPoint to open to the jury. And I said, oh, because there's something in there? You know, if he objected, he was like, no. He's like, I just believe in old-fashioned that you should just talk to the jury without the PowerPoint. And I said to him, Mr. Klein, I said, you of all people, being a former teacher, know that the jury will comprehend it better when they both see it and hear it. And he's like,
What's funny about that is he's made the opposite argument in class.
well,
People to use various things.
yeah,
So,
look, he's a very good lawyer. He didn't want them to open it with that. So, and I said, do you not have a PowerPoint? He's like, no, we have one. I'm like, all right. So, he's a nice man, though. For those who are curious, we're in the third quarter, 2:16 left, 26 the Rams, 21 the Eagles. So we got a little bit of work to do.
Okay.
Making a comeback.
Making a comeback. And when I agreed, I did not know that this was an Eagles day.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry, what was the score?
26-21, the Rams are leading.
It's okay. We'll be on.
It's okay.
If it was a Thursday night game, I would have said that.
They did score. The Eagles' first score was a tush push.
No injuries.
No injuries.
No interest when they did it.
So, yeah. Are we ready? Okay. On behalf of the defense.
The defense calls Jackie Powell to the stand.
Very good. Mr. Powell, can you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
I do.
State your name for the record, spelling your last name.
Jackie Powell, Powell.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Jordan.
Coach Powell, we've heard a lot about you today, but why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Jackie Powell.
What do you do for a living?
So I'm a history teacher at Klein High School, and I also serve as the head coach for the freshman football team.
How long have you been coaching football?
I've been coaching since 2016, so what is that? Almost 9 years now.
How did you get involved with football?
So my dad and brother both played football when I was growing up, so I was always around it.
After I graduated high school, I served as an equipment manager at Sanford High School, and I just kind of stuck with it ever since.
Did you ever play football yourself?
No, nothing beyond Little League flag football.
Now, you mentioned a minute ago that you're the head coach at Klein. Have you always held that position?
No, when I first got a job at Klein High School, I was the defensive coordinator.
Have you ever worked coaching football anywhere else?
Yes, at Sanford High School, I was an equipment manager.
Why did you make the transition from Sanford to Klein?
Yeah, so at Klein, it was just going to be a better opportunity, and I got to be a teacher as well, which is something I really wanted to do.
I want to talk to you a little bit about the program at Klein. How is it doing?
In full honesty, we have not been the best. We don't have the best record.
Were there anything you were trying to change about the program to get a better record?
Yeah, my main thought process was that what our issue was our offense. We needed to change some plays, so I thought up some new plays and some new strategies.
What specifically were the new plays you were trying to add?
The quarterback sneak push.
Now, for those of us who don't know, what is the quarterback sneak push?
Yeah, so it essentially operates as using the student who is the quarterback to get a short amount of yardage by just pushing them forward. So 3 of the players behind the quarterback will push that player forward once the ball is snapped.
Is the play effective?
Yes, it is.
Do you know of any other high schools running the quarterback sneak push?
No, as far as I'm aware, we were the first.
Coach Powell, did you do any research regarding the QB sneak push?
Nothing beyond watching old film and analyzing NFL games.
Have there ever been any serious injuries regarding the play?
None that I'm aware of.
So, Coach Powell, why did you decide to run the play with your high schoolers?
So, like I said, our record wasn't doing great and we needed some wins. So I thought this was going to be the best way that we would be able to get those touchdowns and get the points we needed.
Well, let's talk specifically about how you ran the play. Who was to be performing the play?
Our quarterback, Marique Newbarnes.
Did you run the play the exact same way as the Philadelphia Eagles?
No, obviously my students aren't NFL players, so we had to change it for high schoolers.
What type of changes did you make to the play?
So because Marique is smaller than obviously a typical NFL player or even a typical high school player, we had Marique get lower to the ground and put his torso and his head parallel to the ground.
Why did you have Marique get lower?
So 2 reasons. One, I thought it would be good for strategy. It was going to be able to get us that point because he would be able to be pushed more easily. And second, I thought it would be safer for Marique as well. I thought that being lower to the ground would mean that the defense couldn't hit him as hard and couldn't push him back.
Did you practice the play with these changes with Marique?
We did.
When was the first time you practiced the quarterback sneak push?
Let's see, that would have been August 20th.
How many times did you run the play on August 20th?
3 times.
How'd it go?
It was successful. Each time, Marique was able to get the extra yardage we needed.
Was Marique ever injured while running the play at that practice?
No, he wasn't.
Did Klein ever run the quarterback sneak push and say, a game?
We did. We ran the play against Robert Little High School in our very first football game this season.
And how did that go?
It didn't go as well. Marique ran the play how he probably saw them do it in the NFL. He wasn't as low to the ground, and they were able to push him back. We didn't get the yard.
Was the modification to the game to prevent Marique being pushed back by the defensive line?
That's right. That's what it was for.
And even when the play was run wrong, was Marique ever injured?
No, he wasn't.
Were any of your players injured while running the QB sneak push in that game?
No, they weren't.
When was the next time Klein ran the QB sneak push?
That would have been at our practice on September 9th.
How many times did you run the play on September 9th?
Just once.
Why did you only run the play once?
When we ran the play the first time, Marique got hurt.
How did Marique get injured?
So when he was being pushed forward, players from the defensive side came over the line of scrimmage and landed on Marique's back. He had a couple of players pile up on him.
Did something go wrong with the play?
Marique ran it as it was supposed to be run.
Why did Klein only practice before this incident the QB sneak push 4 times?
Yeah, so it's not the kind of play that you want to practice too much. I mean, it's one that you want to use in the game.
And based off of what you know, was it safe for Marique to run the play the way you designed it?
Yes.
Would you have ever knowingly put your players in a dangerous position?
No, I would never do that.
Would you ever knowingly put your players in harm's way?
No, I would never do that. Football's already a dangerous sport. I don't want to make it worse.
Thank you. No further questions.
Counsel?
Yes, Your Honor. Cross-examination?
Yes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Powell.
Good afternoon.
We can agree. As head coach, nothing should come before the safety of your players.
Yes, I agree with that.
But heading into the 2024 season, you were feeling pressure.
I was, yes. We needed to win some games.
You've been head coach for 2 seasons,
I had.
2 losing seasons.
Yes, ma'am.
You'd played 20 games,
Yes.
won 2 of them.
Yes, ma'am.
You were embarrassed.
Yes, I was.
You felt like your job was on the line.
Yes, I was definitely feeling pressure for my football coaching job.
So you wanted to win more games.
I did.
You'd seen the Eagles running the quarterback sneak push, right?
Yes, I had.
Seen them running it successfully.
Yes.
No serious injuries.
No, not that I'm aware of.
You decided to run a quarterback sneak push.
Yes, ma'am.
Except you didn't run it the way the Eagles run it.
No, we had to change the play for Marique.
You didn't run it the way you'd seen any NFL team run it.
No.
After seeing the play run with no serious injuries, you decided to change the play.
Yes, I did. Like I said, Marique is smaller, so we had to change it for Marique.
We'll talk about why you changed the play in just a moment, but that's a yes to my question.
Yes, it is.
You had Marique get lower than every NFL quarterback you'd ever seen run this play.
Yes, we did.
You had him run with his torso parallel to the ground,
Right.
his neck parallel to the ground,
Yes, that's true.
his head parallel to the ground,
Yes, that's how we had him run the play.
meaning he was running head first toward the defensive line,
Right.
while players pushed him from behind.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
3 players pushed him from behind.
Yes.
Their job was to drive him.
Yes, to push him forward.
Your words. Drive him like a spear.
Right. That's because he's parallel.
Mr. Powell, the tip of that spear was the head.
That's right.
The tip of that spear was the head of a 14-year-old boy.
Yes, that's how the play was to be run.
Let's talk about which kid you picked to drive like a spear. On your freshman football team, there were 3 quarterbacks.
Yes, we have our first string, second string, and third string.
Marique was the smallest.
He was.
The kid you picked to drive like a spear was 5'2".
Yes, he was small.
The kid you picked to drive like a spear was not much more than 100 pounds.
No, I think he was 109, 110 pounds.
Your words, not much more than 100 pounds.
Right.
You called him tiny.
Yes, he was smaller.
Now, you claim that you designed the play parallel to the ground because of his size,
Right.
because you thought that it would be safer.
That's what I thought, yes.
You thought that if you got him low, it would be impossible for defenders to get to him before he gained a yard, right?
Right.
But after he gained that yard, you knew he'd get tackled.
Right, that's typically what happens in plays. The defense will tackle the offense.
After he gained that yard, he'd be tackled while his spine is parallel to the ground.
Right?
He'd be getting tackled with his back exposed.
Yes, but he would have those 3 players behind him as well.
Was that a yes to my question? His back would be exposed in your play design when he got tackled?
Yes, it was.
You told us you thought that was safer for Marique?
Yes, because of his size, if he were to run it the way of the NFL, he would be getting hit head on by the defense.
Mr. Powell, was that a yes to my question?
Yes, because of his size.
The varsity coach didn't tell you that'd be safer?
No.
Your team trainer didn't tell you that'd be safer?
No.
No one told you that would be safer.
No, I did discuss the play with the offensive coordinator, and he also thought it was a good idea.
Mr. no one told you that having Marique get his spine parallel to the ground would be safer, yes or no?
No, nobody said that explicitly.
That was your opinion.
Yes, that's what I thought at the time.
Let's see if you were right. Before Marique was your quarterback, you ran the QB sneak without the push from behind,
Yes,
without having your players get parallel to the ground.
yes,
You ran it that way for 8 years.
yes, we did.
No one got paralyzed.
No,
No one even got hurt.
no, no one has.
Then last year, you changed the play to add the push from behind.
Right, to mimic how the NFL does the sneak
You
push.
changed the play to get Marique parallel to the ground.
Right,
You ran it that way for under a month.
yes, we did.
In total, you ran it 5 times.
Yes, 5.
The 5th time, you ran the Marique sneak. Marique was paralyzed.
Yes, unfortunately, on the practice on September 9th, he got paralyzed.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Ms. Jordan?
Coach Powell, you mentioned earlier that you're also a history teacher at Klein High School. Would you have lost your job as a history teacher if you didn't win on the football field?
Not that I know of, I hope not.
And while you were coaching the Klein freshman football team, who was your starting quarterback?
It was Marique.
Is that why you had him run the QB sneak push?
Yeah, I mean, like it was mentioned today, Marique's a smaller kid. I saw a lot of potential in him. I was hoping that he would, get to be the star of the show.
And why did you make the modifications that were mentioned on cross to the QB sneak push?
It's because of his size, because he is so much smaller than some of the other players on the field. That's how I thought he would be the safest. The defense wouldn't be able to hit him head on.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Very good.
No recross, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Powell, you may be seated. And your next witness?
Your Honor, the defense calls Dr. Omega Adams to the stand.
Very good, Dr. Adams. Can you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
I do.
State your name for the record, spelling your last name.
My name is Dr. Omega Adams, last name Adams.
And Ms. Lettieri, you may proceed.
Please introduce yourself to us.
As I just said, my name is Dr. Omega Adams.
Dr. Adams, what do you do for work?
I'm a neurosurgeon. I specialize nowadays in things like biomechanical injury causation, traumatic brain injuries, overall neurosurgical malpractice, but nowadays I also work a lot with my consulting firm.
How long have you been practicing in neurosurgery?
Almost 20 years.
Where did you go to school?
I started by getting my biology degree from Samford University, and then I stayed in Birmingham and did med school there at the University of Alabama at Birmingham. After doing that, I finished a residency in neurosurgery from the University of Florida down there in Gainesville. It was very hot. And then I went and did a fellowship at the Barrow Institute, which was also in neurosurgery.
Do you hold any certifications in your field?
I am certified from the American Board of Neurosurgery.
Have you ever testified as an expert before?
I've been hired 120 times to consult in cases.
Dr. Adams, how did you get involved in this case?
Well, I was approached by the defense, in this case Thomas R. Klein, because Marique Newbrance's injury is a spinal cord injury. They were asked for me to evaluate whether or not their conduct was what contributed to the specific injury that Marique suffered.
Dr. Adams, do you have any experience in football?
I'm the first to admit that I am a huge Alabama fan, so that's SEC football on Saturdays, college only. But outside of my, fanatic phase in watching football, I have treated patients who have suffered spinal cord injuries as a result of playing football. I believe if I had to give a number, it would be probably 9 in over my 1,000 spinal surgeries that I've conducted.
Without getting into what your opinions are, were you able to form an opinion based on Klein's conduct as it related to Marique's injuries?
Yes, I was able to form those opinions.
What did you review in forming those opinions?
I reviewed every exhibit in this case, so I believe that's 1 through 24, as well as reviewing the party stipulations that they had come to in this case.
Are your opinions based on sufficient facts and data?
They are.
Did you apply reliable principles and methods?
I did.
Well, what were those methods?
Well, because we're here for a football play, I looked first at the design of the play, figured out how the play was run, and then focused more on my neurosurgical background and looked at the force impacts that would result from a play like that. In applying that analysis, I was able to form opinions about how this injury occurred and what forces contributed to that injury.
Are these the same types of principles and methods others in your field would use?
Absolutely.
Dr. Adams, did you form your opinion on a reasonable degree of professional certainty?
I did.
Your Honor, the defense offers Dr. Omega Adams as an expert in neurosurgery.
Ms. Davidson,
No objections.
very good. You may proceed.
Dr. Adams, what are your opinions?
My opinion is that Klein's decision to run the quarterback sneak push based on the information that was available at the time was an okay decision. Reviewing the data that was available, I had no reason to believe, nor should Klein have had a reason to believe, that this play would have been unsafe.
And just a moment ago when you were talking about the methods that you used, you mentioned that you looked at the design of the play. What factors regarding the design of the play did you consider?
So as we saw earlier, when you look at the playbook drawing of a play like the quarterback sneak push, you'll notice that all of the players on the offensive side very close together. One offensive lineman next to another with the quarterback directly behind the center and 3 people behind the quarterback. Everyone's kind of bunched together. So in a play like that, there's not a lot of room for people to be running long distances or running very fast at all. Everyone's very together. It's a very slow and controlled play when you're only trying to move a yard or 2.
Would you recognize a picture of the Philadelphia Eagles running the quarterback sneak push if I were to show it to you?
I would.
Your Honor, citing court and counsel to what has been pre-admitted as Exhibit 8A,
That's fine.
permission to approach Dr. Adams with the same?
Yes.
May I publish a copy to the jury?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Dr. Adams, you mentioned impact forces. Using this picture, can you kind of explain what you mean by those impact forces?
Sure. So a photo like this where we see the Eagles on the offense running the quarterback sneak push kind of brings what I just mentioned to life, and that you can see here they are kind of all bunched together. As I mentioned, the impact forces on a play like this where everyone is so close together are going to be lower than other plays we may see where people are running long distances or we have a player kind of out in the field by themselves. So in a play like this, while obviously we're looking at very large men running a play and tackling one another, in comparison to other football plays, this is what we would call a lower force impact play.
And why is this being a lower force impact play important?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, it's a slow and controlled play. So not only are the players, like I said, close together, but the ultimate goal of a play like this is not to go and get 35 yards. It's to get maybe 1, maybe 2, depending on where you're at. 4th down conversion play. So with those things in mind, it's a low impact play.
What is the difference between the execution of this play by a high schooler versus how the NFL players would execute this play?
Well, forces can come about in multiple ways. We've talked about whether you're running at somebody or how far away you are from someone, if someone else can absorb some of the force that your body's taking on. Size is another factor that affects force. Obviously, if someone is bigger in size, they're going to put more force on someone than someone who is smaller. So when we look at a picture like Exhibit 8A, and we see these NFL players, substitute that with a team of high school freshmen, and you can kind of picture in your mind that there's less force at play when you have smaller people.
You're talking a lot about lower impact forces. What would be an example of a high impact force?
Sure. Sticking with the idea of football, obviously, in comparison to, again, a play like this, if you've seen a Hail Mary where the quarterback throws a long pass to a wide receiver way down the field, that wide receiver doesn't have anyone around him, no one to absorb that force. So when a defensive player comes out of nowhere and hits him, that's a lot of force. 2 people running at high rates of speed with no one around to absorb that extra force from the collision. That'd be a great example of something like a high impact play.
Dr. Adams, have any other high school teams besides Klein run the QB sneak push?
Yes, when I was reviewing all the data available on the quarterback sneak push, I found that not only college teams had run the play, but 2 high school teams in Texas were actually running the quarterback sneak push.
Were there any reported injuries associated with the QB sneak push from those high schools that ran it?
No, no injuries.
Dr. Adams, there's been a lot of talk today about the modifications of the QB sneak push. What is your opinion about the modification?
Well, if I have to be honest and upfront, I'll tell you, if I was drawing the play, I may not have drawn it up that way. But given, again, what we've seen and reviewed based on the quarterback sneak push and then taking Marique's size into the equation, I don't think there was anything wrong with the modifications that Coach Jackie Powell made. And I do believe that it did have Marique's safety in mind.
Is there any data out there to suggest that the modification of the play that Coach Jackie Powell ran was more dangerous for the players to run?
No, I've seen no data that would suggest that that modification of the play would have been more dangerous for Marique as opposed to running it in the original style of the tush push.
Dr. Adams, earlier when you were talking about your methods, you also spoke about injuries. Were there any injuries associated with the original QB sneak push?
No. Or, excuse me, there were 2 of the original sneak push. Again, it was an NFL game. This time it was the Giants running the play. And so there were 2 injuries suffered by 2 Giants players on the exact same run of the quarterback sneak push. One of them was a dislocated shoulder, and the other one was a sprained knee.
You mentioned it was to 2 Giants players. Were either of those players quarterbacks?
No.
Now, Dr. Adams, were you in the courtroom today when Dr. Cotter was testifying?
I was here, yes.
Did you hear Dr. Cotter mention how Marique's size and age contributed to the injury, chance of injury from running this modified play?
Yes, I did hear Dr. Cotter say that.
Do you agree with her opinion?
No, I'm afraid I'd have to take the opposite stance on the issue. Again, because we're talking about low impact forces, I believe that Marique's size would actually, again, create even lower forces at play than, say, the average high school quarterback. So I believe that Marique running the play ultimately contributed to the overall safety of the play.
I want to talk about Marique's injuries. Now, what was Marique specifically diagnosed with?
As we saw earlier and heard, Marique was diagnosed with a comminuted cervical spine fracture at the C4 level of the spine. Because a C4 is kind of in the higher region, when an injury like that happens at the spine, everything below it becomes paralyzed. You lose motor and sensory functions, which is what happened to Marique, and that resulted in quadriplegia.
Dr. Adams, this might sound like an obvious question, but was the QB sneak push the only way that Marique could have sustained this injury?
No, it's not. Again, at the end of the day, this is football. There have been severe spinal injuries on other plays, and there's a lot of other plays in football that tell players to get low or get kind of closer to the ground. Something like this, unfortunately, could happen just as easily on a routine tackle.
Thank you, Dr. Adams. I have no further questions.
Ms. Davis?
Yes, Your Honor. May I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Dr. Adams.
Good afternoon.
You would agree, as an expert witness, it's important to be impartial.
That's right.
It's important to keep an open mind.
That's right.
Now, you've consulted for 120 court cases.
That's right.
Never for a plaintiff.
No,
All 120 times for the defense.
that's correct.
For the past 4 years, you've spoken at the Defense Research Institute.
I have.
That's the largest organization for civil defense attorneys.
Yes.
90% of your income comes from consulting for defendants.
That's correct.
Today, you're testifying for the defendant.
Yes.
I want to talk about your relationship with this defendant.
Okay.
Now, on direct examination, you said that you didn't think the defendant's head coach did anything wrong with calling this play.
Again, I said it's not the way I would have run it, but overall, no.
But what you didn't mention is that you and the defendant's head coach are friends.
Yes.
You and Jackie Powell are not just friends, you're good friends.
Yes.
I want to talk about your qualifications compared to Dr. Cotter's. Now, you're not board certified in sports medicine.
No.
You've never been a professor of sports medicine.
No.
You've never been published by the American Journal of Sports Medicine.
No, I have not.
You've never been published on the safety of the tush push
No.
or any football play.
No.
You've never been the team doctor for a college team
Nope.
or any team.
Absolutely not.
On direct examination, you mentioned that no quarterback had ever been injured at the NFL level on this play, right?
That's true.
And you mentioned 2 high schools who run this play, true?
That's correct.
They run it the way they do it in the NFL, you'd agree?
That's right.
Klein did not run it the way they do it in the NFL.
No, they modified it for Marique's size.
Right, Marique, he had to get lower,
Right?
and they also ran it on a quarterback who was 5'2".
That's correct.
Let's talk about whether this play was safe for someone of Marique's size. You know, high schoolers, they have weaker spines.
Statistically, yeah.
Weaker spines making them more susceptible to injury.
Yes.
Marique was a high schooler,
Right?
a freshman.
Yes.
He was 14.
That's right.
Now, the defendant's head coach said that he wanted to drive Marique through the line,
That's correct.
drive him through the line like a spear.
That's right.
I'm showing what's been pre-admitted as Exhibit 3. Now, you'd agree with me, there's an offensive line
Yes.
and a defensive line.
That's correct.
The average weight of a player on the defendant's offensive and defensive line was 200 pounds.
Yes.
Marique weighed half that.
Yes.
You've never seen a quarterback as small as Marique run a play like this.
No.
Now let's talk about whether the design of the play was safe. The defendant, they called it the Marique sneak.
Yes.
They had Marique get his chest lower than NFL quarterbacks do
He did, yes.
until it was parallel to the ground.
That's right.
They had him get his neck lower than NFL quarterbacks do
Yes.
until it was parallel to the ground.
Yes.
They had him get his head lower than NFL quarterbacks do
Yes.
until it was parallel to the ground.
That's right.
Doctor, you would not recommend running the play that way.
Right. I said that.
You said you wouldn't draw up this play that way. You would not recommend running the play the way Klein did. Isn't that true?
That's what I said.
So that's a yes. You wouldn't recommend running it that way.
Yes.
No further questions.
Ms. Lettieri?
Redirect, Your Honor.
Yes.
Dr. Adams, on cross-examination, opposing counsel spoke to you about Coach Powell. Just to be clear, does your relationship with Coach Powell affect your opinion today?
No, I met Coach Jackie Powell because I was treating a spinal cord injury he had suffered after an accident, and he required follow-up surgery over the years, which I, again, tended to him with, so we did become good friends.
Dr. Adams, based on everything that you reviewed in this case, was Klein's players as big as the NFL players?
No,
Were they as strong as the NFL players?
absolutely not.
Based on what you reviewed, could they apply as much force as NFL players?
No, again, the fact that a high school freshman team was the people running the play that we saw in Exhibit A, or 8A, I should clarify, that contributed, one of the many factors, to the fact that this was a lower impact play.
Dr. Adams, just to clear it up, what was the purpose of the modification of this play?
As we heard from Coach Jackie Powell just a minute ago, the idea, because Marique was so small and they were concerned that he'd get hit while running it more upright and taking those hits to the front of his body, the goal and purpose and design of the play was for him to get low in order to be able to cut through underneath the defensive lineman so that he wouldn't suffer all those hits coming backwards and hopefully come out on the other side before he actually ever sustained a lot of those tackles.
Thank you, Dr. Adams. I have no further questions. Your Honor, may Dr. Adams be excused?
Ms. Davidson?
No recross, Your Honor.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Adams. Dr. Adams, you are excused. And your next witness?
The defense rests, Your Honor.
Very good. Are you ready? I'm sorry?
The defense is going to re-raise our motion under Rule 50 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. As we've just heard on testimony, Coach Powell made the adjustments to make the quarterback sneak push safe for his players, and Dr. Adams also just testified that those adjustments did not make this play any more dangerous than when it was run by the quarterback in the NFL. Therefore, this motion is due to be granted, Your Honor.
May I
And
be
Ms.
heard
Dedenath?
briefly? Yes, Your Honor, sorry to interrupt. Your Honor, while the defense may claim that Coach Jackie Powell made this modification so that it would be safer for Marique, we also heard testimony from Mr. Powell that he wanted to make this modification to win. He said, "I thought if I got him low, it would be impossible for the defense to get him before he gained a yard." But we heard testimony that after he gained that yard, Marique's spine and neck and head would be exposed, so he could be tackled on and jumped on. A reasonable juror, even given those facts and everything else we've brought into evidence today, could find in favor of the plaintiff.
Very good. The motion is denied. The case will go to the jury.
Yes, Your Honor.
You
And may
ready?
we have a brief break before closing arguments?
Yes, ma'am.
Is 5 minutes all right?
5 minutes sounds good. Thank you. just have to wait for the bailiff to get back. All right, counsel, you ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you may proceed.
Marique Nubaris was 14. Not old enough for an R-rated movie. Not old enough for a learner's permit. But the defendant decided he was old enough to use as a human battering ram. That's not our phrase, that's Coach Powell's. That's what he told Marique, and that's why Marique is paralyzed. Because they used a boy as a battering ram. As the plaintiff, we have the burden to prove it's more likely than not that the defendant's negligence contributed to Marique's injury. We met that burden with 3 facts. They picked the smallest kid. They made him lead with his head. And their decisions left him paralyzed. So let's start with that first fact. They picked the smallest kid. Folks, he was 5'2". Can you imagine? I mean, I'm 5'2", but I'm wearing heels. We're talking about a kid who's this tall. Battering rams are supposed to be big. But this child was half the size of the lineman he was being rammed into. The experts told you, size imbalances cause injury. Because if the battering ram is small and the wall is huge, what do you think is going to happen to the battering ram? You'd think that with a kid this tiny, they'd go out of their way to protect him. Instead, that's fact 2. They made him lead with his head. And I do mean made him. Coach Powell yelled at Marique, "Get lower, get lower, get lower." And when he didn't, Coach Powell grabbed Marique's helmet and pulled it down until he was parallel to the ground. And then, he had 1, 2, 3 players push him from behind with all their strength. The only doctor of sports medicine you heard from today told you that's not safe. But the defense, they told you that this was safe. But what did the defendant's coach actually say? Quote, "I thought if I got him low, it would be impossible for the defense to get to him before he gained a yard." But what happens after he gains the yard? He gets tackled, jumped on by any number of those 11 defenders. Tackled while his head, neck, and spine are all exposed. Coach Powell told you, "I thought it would help us win." Sure, maybe they win a yard or 2, maybe that helps them win a game. But at what cost? The paralysis of a 14-year-old boy? Members of the jury, the varsity coach didn't tell Coach Powell this would be safe. The team trainer didn't tell Coach Powell this would be safe. No one told him this would be safe. Look, we're not saying that you have to get a medical degree to coach high school football. But if you look around and you see that the best coaches in the world aren't doing this, that no coach anywhere is treating their quarterback like a battering ram or a spear, you got to stop and think. I shouldn't either. But the defense, they had a list of excuses. Let's go through them. They said football is dangerous. Sure. But that's not a blank check to make it more dangerous. They said, look at the statistics. No other quarterback has gotten injured on the quarterback sneak push. Right. Because no other coach has ever run this play the way this defendant did. Coach Powell showed his players a photo of this play being run safely, no serious injuries, and told them, don't do it like this. See, all trial, the defense has been talking about those numbers, those statistics. We suspect they'll do it again in closing argument. When they do, remember, those numbers are for a different version of the play, the original version, the NFL version. See, the defense, they have it backwards. Those 0 injury rates, they don't show that their modification was safe. They show they shouldn't have made the modification. But the defense's expert got up there and told you that, well, this play was similar. It wasn't that different from how the Eagles run the tush-push. She said, look at how the Eagles run it. Look at Jalen Hurts. Just sub in these players for high schoolers. Nah. We heard from Dr. Cotter that you can't just sub in these players for high schoolers. The major difference was the orientation of the quarterback's spine, going from upright to parallel, spine compressed from both sides. But you don't have to take my word for it. Because you know who told you that Coach Powell ran this play differently from everyone else? Coach Powell. The defense, they told you, our expert says that it's safe. Okay, so let's compare their credibility. Members of the jury, we brought you a doctor of sports medicine, published on the safety of this play. They brought you their coach's buddy. Our expert works with football teams. Their expert works with defense lawyers. And even after all that explaining, all that hedging, even their expert had to admit, I wouldn't recommend running this play. Members of the jury, that's not a battle of the experts. That's a blowout. When you go to deliberate, the very first instruction that Judge Andrews will give you is to use your common sense. Common sense tells us this. A child is not a battering ram. His head is not a spear. Let's look at your verdict form. Question 1. Did we prove that the defendant acted negligently? Negligence is failing to act as a reasonable person would in the same circumstances. We know that a reasonable coach wouldn't have a player this small run this play Because no other coach ever has. We know a reasonable coach wouldn't have their quarterback get their head and neck so low because no other coach ever has. We know that a reasonable coach would understand this play is dangerous because a reasonable coach told you it was dangerous. Assistant coach Al Clooney warned Coach Powell, don't run this play. Don't get a kid's spine parallel to the ground. Why? Because it's common sense. The answer to question 1 is yes. So that brings us to fact number 3. Did the defendant's negligence cause Marique's injuries? Members of the jury, this one's pretty simple. We had to show that their negligence was a substantial factor, meaning we didn't have to prove it was the only cause, just a cause. We heard from Dr. Cotter that the way the defendant designed the play substantially increased the risk of spinal cord compression and paralysis. What was Marique's injury? Spinal cord compression and paralysis. Coach Powell told you they ran a version of this play without the push from behind, without having their quarterback get parallel to the ground. They ran it that way for 8 years. No one got hurt. No one got paralyzed. They ran this play 5 times. 5 times. And the 5th time, Marique is paralyzed. Because the first 4 times, Coach Powell said, get low. But the last time, when Marique finally got as low as the defendant wanted him to, he's paralyzed. That means this play has never been run the way it was designed without paralyzing its quarterback. Members of the jury, that's not coincidence. That's causation. Back to your verdict form. Question 2. Did we prove that the defendant's negligence caused Marique's injury? The answer is yes. Members of the jury, in a moment, the defense is going to come up here to give their closing argument. We suspect they'll tell you again that football is dangerous, that they changed the play because they thought it would be safer for Marique. When they do, remember this. As violent as football can be, as competitive as football coaches are, no one else was willing to subject a child to this, except for this defendant. Because their coach cared more about trophies than safety. Marique New Barnes trusted his coach. His coach betrayed that trust when he chose to use a boy, a 14-year-old boy, a 5'2", 109-pound boy, as a battering ram. We ask that you find the defendant liable for negligence. Thank you for your time.
And Ms. Lettieri?
Just one moment to prepare the well, Your Honor.
And would you like me to move any of these materials out of the way?
Yes, just one second. I'll take the verdict form.
Great. Thank you.
I'll follow you.
I don't need that.
Okay. Football is a game we all know can be unpredictable. Coaches and players know that no two plays will ever be exactly the same. No matter how many times you run them, no matter how perfectly each play is executed. The end result will always be different. Something could go wrong at any point. But what happened here? This specific injury, this rare, catastrophic injury, was something no one could have ever predicted. Not as coaches, not as teammates, not even Marique. But you cannot prevent what you cannot predict. And when Sydney Newburns brought this action against Klein High School on behalf of her son Marique, she brought with her a burden to prove by the greater weight of the evidence that Klein High School acted negligently. Or, in other words, that through its agents or employees, they failed to act as a reasonable person would have under the circumstances. And as a result, Marique was injured. Now, members of the jury, there is no question that what Marique suffered was a devastating injury. What happened to him? What he endured? That's something that no one should ever have to experience. And just like my co-counsel said at the beginning of today's trial, we understand that it might feel natural to want to find someone to blame. Because Marique did not deserve what happened to him. But just because you feel like there should be someone to blame, it does not mean that there is someone to blame. Sometimes unpredictable accidents happen. But you cannot prevent what you cannot predict. Which is why the plaintiff failed to meet their burden today. Because the evidence showed that Marique's injury was unforeseeable. And as a result, Coach Powell and Coach Clooney acted reasonably when they had their freshman football team run the QB sneak push. Now, since the plaintiff decided that they were going to focus almost their entire case on how Klein's coaches should have been able to foresee that this type of catastrophic injury would occur, that's where I'd like to start. And we learned today, the QB sneak push is a play that is run across the country at every level, not just by the NFL, not just by college teams, high school teams run this play. And Dr. Cotter told us today this play has been run hundreds of times. And that means thousands of players have been involved in this play. Thousands. But there had only ever been 2 injuries. 2 minor injuries. A dislocated shoulder that was probably popped back into place within seconds, and a sprained knee that was probably healed within a week. Neither of those injuries were life-altering. Neither of those injuries resulted in paralysis, and neither of those injuries were to a quarterback. Sure, football can be dangerous, and injuries, they're to be expected, but not season-ending, life-altering injuries sustained during a freshman football practice. But the plaintiff, they wanted you to believe that this injury was foreseeable. And they did this by bringing in Dr. Cotter, who took the stand today, and used fancy words like axle loading to make it sound like she knew what she was talking about and was qualified to give an opinion on something she had no business speculating about. Members of the jury, Dr. Cotter is a family medicine doctor. Now, we are not discrediting how admirable that is, or how much work it took her to get to where she is today. But just because Dr. Cotter did a 1-year fellowship in sports medicine and works with a sports team 1 day a week does not mean that Dr. Cotter is qualified to render an opinion about spinal cord injuries. And it certainly does not make Dr. Cotter an expert in spinal cord injuries in high school athletes. Dr. Cotter is not a neurologist or a neurosurgeon or a pediatrician. Yet Dr. Cotter supposedly knows so much about children's musculoskeletal and neurological health that she can render an opinion about whether or not this play was safe for Marique based on his height and age? Members of the jury, obviously, Marique was small. He was a high school freshman at the time. But so was every other player out on that field with him. And none of them were as big or as strong as NFL players. None of them could apply the exact same amount of force as an NFL player could. But that's the point. And it proves the exact opposite of what the plaintiff wants you to believe today. Which is why you got to hear from Dr. Adams, someone who was actually qualified to render an opinion about Marique's spinal cord injury. Because Dr. Adams is a neurosurgeon with over 20 years of clinical and surgical experience. And Dr. Adams explained to you that the amount of force applied by Klein's football team was significantly less than what you would have seen in a real NFL play. And she explained to you what this play looked like. Now, we agree that the play that Klein ran, it was different from the NFL. But the mechanics of it were almost exactly the same. And Dr. Adams told you, this play that Klein ran, it was a slow play. A controlled play, with all of the players bunched into close quarters exactly like how the team and the Eagles ran it. Them being in this close, confined space, only having to move a yard or two, created a significantly less amount of force. And that's why this play was so safe for high school students to run. And it also explains why this injury was so unforeseeable. Because even with a significantly less amount of force, even with everything going exactly how it was supposed to, Marique still got hurt. But members of the jury, you cannot prevent what you cannot predict. Which brings me to my second point. Not only was Marique's injury unforeseeable, unpredictable, but Klein's conduct was reasonable. And now, just to be clear, the law requires you to determine whether Klein's conduct, whether Coach Powell's and Coach Clooney's actions were reasonable at the time that they chose to run the play on September 9th, 2024. Not whether it would be considered reasonable now, with the benefit of hindsight. Because hindsight makes everything seem more obvious. But when you're in the moment, it is anything but. And we heard today, the QB sneak push was not just some experimental play or dangerous stunt that Coach Powell came up with on his way to work one day. This was a short yardage play run successfully by teams across the country. Now, the plaintiff made a big deal today about how we were going to show you a lot of numbers that had nothing to do with this modification of the play. But members of the jury, this is why these numbers are so important. Dr. Cotter told you today when she took that stand that the original play, the QB sneak push in its original form, was dangerous. That Klein should not have run that play. Members of the jury, these numbers show that that play was safe, which is why Coach Powell chose to run the play. If Dr. Cotter would have done what she was hired to do, the plaintiff would have known from day one that the original play was safe. And that's why Coach Powell used that play and modified that play. Now, despite what the plaintiff wants you to believe, Coach Powell wasn't gambling with his player's life to save his job. Coach Powell did what any reasonable coach in his situation would have done. He chose to run a play that was successful. He chose to run a play that had no serious injuries reported with it ever. He chose to run a play that, based on everything that anyone knew at the time, was safe. No matter what happened, that does not make Coach Powell or Klein High School liable. Members of the jury, Coach Powell told you why he modified that play. He didn't modify that play just to win games. He didn't modify that play to put his players in harm's way, and he certainly didn't modify that play to put Marique in harm's way. He modified that play to make it safer for Marique. He modified that play because the one time that they ran the play the way that the NFL ran the play, Marique got pushed back. Marique got hit by the defensive lineman. This modification of the play was to prevent this. This modification of the play was to make sure that Marique could cut through that center line and have no issues at all. Coach Powell modified that play because at the time, he thought that that was the safest way to run that play. It was the plaintiff's job today to prove to you that what Coach Powell did was not reasonable. That no coach in his position would have done what he did. Instead, all the plaintiff did was make vague arguments about how this modification of the play increased Marique's chance of injury. And as if it wasn't enough to get up here today and tell you that they shouldn't have run this play to begin with, the plaintiff decided to contradict themselves. Because Dr. Cotter got up here on the stand today and she said not only was the play too dangerous to run to begin with, but Klein's team should have practiced the play more. They should have had their players run this dangerous play more. Well, members of the jury, which one is it? Was the play too dangerous to run to begin with? Or should Klein have had their team practice the play more? The plaintiff cannot have it both ways. But they certainly are trying to. Now, in just a moment, the judge is going to send you back to deliberate. He's going to send you back with this verdict form. I know you've seen it already today, but I just want to take a moment to walk through the questions with you. And the first question is going to ask, did the plaintiff prove by the greater weight of the evidence that Klein High School was negligent? Members of the jury. We know that the QB sneak push is a play that had been run safely across the country for years. There had never been an injury like this reported at any level to any player, let alone a quarterback. The evidence showed that there was no way to foresee that an injury like this, an injury as catastrophic as this one, would result from that play. And because Klein High School could not prevent what they could not predict, the answer to number one is no. And question number two asks whether the plaintiff proved by the greater weight of the evidence that Klein High School caused Marique's injury. And because this injury was so unpredictable. Because there was no way to know that an injury as catastrophic and as devastating as this could occur. The answer to number two is also no. No one disputes the seriousness of what happened. No one disputes the heartbreak of it. But the question before you is not whether this injury was devastating. It was. The question before you is whether this injury was foreseeable. Because the law does not require Klein to prevent the unforeseeable. It just requires that they act reasonably under the circumstances with the knowledge that they had at the time. And at the time that Coach Powell ran this play had been run safely across the country. There had been no serious injuries ever reported associated with it. Coach Powell had no reason to believe that this moment
would be any different. And because Coach Powell could not prevent what he could not predict, Thomas R. Klein High School is not liable. Find Klein not liable.
And Ms. Devman?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, we can clear all of this away. Thank you all. I'll help you out. Just a moment, Your Honor. May I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes.
Members of the jury, the defense can tell you all they want that this was unforeseeable. But their words aren't evidence. The testimony of their witness is. Coach Powell is the one who admitted to you that when he designed this play, he knew Marique was a tiny kid. He knew that tiny kid would get tackled by defenders after crossing that line of scrimmage, that he knew that tiny kid's spine and neck and head would be exposed. They keep telling you that he couldn't prevent what he couldn't predict. This was preventable. If he had just protected that tiny kid's head. Coach Powell admitted to you on the stand today that nothing should come before the safety of his players, protecting the safety of his players. Protecting safety doesn't look like using a quarterback as a battering ram and a spear. They used a boy as a battering ram. We ask that you find them negligent. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Before we conclude, Eagles 33, Rams 26, ended with a blocked field goal, ran it back.
I can confirm that. That happened.
Yeah. And Phil can confirm that sometimes judges are slightly distracted. We're doing multiple things up here. But we are keeping a careful eye on all of you. Phil, do you want to take a short break then we're doing
Yeah, so
the judges?
So our judges are now going to fill their ballots out, and then we'll come back and do some very brief comments from our panel here. Yeah.
We're all in trouble. We'd all be in trouble.
Although I have seen high school students.
Simon, we're very good.
I don't know if I judged the final round, but I did something with, I think it was, Paul. They were excellent.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah.
The training at the high school level now is leaps and bounds better than it was when I was in high school.
Right.
It's really, really good.
Right.
Let's see. I'm just missing two people. We have Paul, and
my two client inspector colleagues.
Do you know who I saw? Tracy.
Palmer?
Yes, she's now at VSCP Law, I think.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think I saw on Facebook that she joined.
You're right. You're right. You're breaking the news to me. Yeah, 2 days ago.
I like that firm a lot too.
Yeah.
I mean, like, obviously client inspector's good, but they're the grandchild of the client inspector.
Yeah. That's awesome. Good for her. Tracy actually judged this last year, coincidentally.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Lorraine, did you submit it? Did you press submit? Okay, just wondering. I'm not rushing you.
You can't rush goodness.
The Eagles are over, so we have nowhere to be now. Yeah, I'm just Lorraine.
Just Lori, that's it. Just one person.
There it is. Okay, we'll wait for Jonathan, and then we'll get going.
All right, so I have all the ballots, and I'm going to pass the microphone to our 6 judges and then to Judge Anders for some feedback for you guys. So I'll start with Jonathan. Just pass it around.
You guys, amazing. Like, just simply amazing. So as far as I'm concerned, any critique I give is really nitpicking. I think that you guys are already on the level of some attorneys that I have seen, better than some attorneys I've seen. So congratulations. It takes a lot to get up here and do these things. Get right into it. A couple of things. Number one, I definitely enjoyed, I think, defense side when you guys stood back here during the cross-examination. That's very important, right? You don't want to be in here. I think you guys did some of your direct examination standing in front. It distracts, right? Because I have to look back and forth. So good job with you guys right there. Also, the other thing was, I'm always nervous about demonstratives, making things because I am someone who's getting ready to tear a demonstrative down. So to me, I was thinking you put this number up here, 500 times this play has been run and only 2 injuries. And I'm thinking, yeah, but you modified it. So I would have put 5, you only ran your way 5 times. 1 main injury, I would have circled that 1, put it under theirs, and left the 1 is the 14-year-old boy, right? And then let them figure out, how do I fix what he just messed up, right? So that's something that I think you always have to think, if I make a demonstrative, what could they do to it, right? And also, I loved how you guys did 3 things in the beginning. This is what I'm gonna show you. It allows us to kind of follow through. You guys were really amazing. Thank you. Hi, I'm Jonathan Luff. I guess I should have told you that. I graduated Drexel Law School 2013. I was a public defender for 3.5 years, then went out in private practice, continued to do criminal defense for about 6.5, 7 years, and now I do municipal defense in Harrisburg.
My turn. I'll introduce myself first real briefly. My name is Marnie Berger. I'm an attorney at Client Inspector. I practice primarily civil sexual assault work. You guys are all phenomenal, so I echo everything John said. I think for me it was a lot of little things that you each did that really had a big impact. So I know, Lanaya, is that how you pronounce your name? I really loved the prefatory statement that you gave without getting too graphic, because then that actually is, that's where we're going, right? So it has the opposite effects. That I thought was really powerful. I think, again, like the movement around the room for the defense. I also like how simple and short your questioning was from the defense side. I just thought that, less is more sometimes, and you really exuded that. You guys were all very polite and respectful to one another, which I think goes a long way and is something to carry with you. And yeah, I think you did a good job of taking advantage of the other side's, some of the testimony. So great work.
Hi guys, so my name is Lorraine Donnelly. I was a prosecutor for 10 years and now have been doing civil plaintiff's work for about 10 years. Not to reiterate that you guys were all so comfortable and prepared. You didn't have to look at any notes at all. I was very impressed by that, and you all, you come off very polished and very confident, and it was awesome to watch, and especially for females. That was cool. Just a couple critiques. One is the plaintiffs, when you were doing the defense expert, I felt like when the defense expert said, I wouldn't do it this way, but it was okay, I was waiting for you to be like, well, why? Why wouldn't you do it this way? And you never asked that. That was the one thing I wish that you would have jumped on. And then the defense, in the beginning, I was waiting, in the opening, I was waiting for, to say bad things happen, but you can't always prevent it. You did do that, but I felt like in the beginning it was not a lot of sympathy starting with. That was just my one critique there. And then the defense, you did a really good job of the defense or the plaintiff's expert saying, well, which one is it? It's a dangerous play or practice more? That was the one point that I thought was really good.
Hey everyone, my name is Antima. I started my career at the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office doing criminal jury trials. I left to do plaintiff's work for a few years when I was scooped up by Fidelity in-house in their litigation department doing mortgage fraud cases all over Pennsylvania, so that was very interesting. I'm now at Big Law here in Philadelphia doing insurance defense work. I did 1.5 years in cybersecurity litigation, which is all federal class actions. And now I'm in their med mal, so similar cases to this, big catastrophes, things of this nature. And most recently, as Judge Anders remembers just from last month, the Philadelphia Bar Association appointed me to do their Young Lawyers Trial Academy, their co-chair for this year. So I was in a similar spot where I was giving similar feedback to attorneys who just graduated and are practicing now. So you guys really did an excellent job. And I see your courtroom presence and your understanding of how to present a case, sometimes, as you said, even better than attorneys who are already practicing. So you guys are ahead of the game, which is phenomenal. A couple things I wanted to say is that you guys are on the right track in terms of understanding that preparation and understanding the file is the most important thing, because then what you want to jump to is the performance aspect of it. That's where you really get the attention of the jury. And you want to entertain, because entertain means attention, and then they're paying attention to your facts. So keep that in mind when you go out there and you're practicing. Know the file well enough so then you get to the performance part. And that's how you win cases. Next, for cross-examinations, you want to watch out for where you start. If you start too high, you have nowhere left to go. Then you're just frankly yelling, right? Especially when you're crossing an expert. Now, an expert, they don't have any skin in the game, right? They don't have any emotion attached to the file. So you can start off kind of steady and lower, and then if they're really fighting you, you have somewhere to go. So watch that in your practice. And finally, listen to what facts come out. There are a couple of things that happened in closing where you mentioned facts that I don't think that came into evidence, and that's going to be really important in your practice to make sure you listen to what's coming out and you're able to modify your closing statements to what really entered into evidence. Otherwise, really great job.
Hi guys, my name is Angie Levy. I'm a federal public defender. I don't have anything to add. You're amazing. You're here in the championship round of the Battle of the Experts. Great job, you guys. I will echo the comments of my fellow judges, and I will say, hands down, better than many attorneys I see in courtrooms. So way ahead of the game, you guys are. Congratulations. Whoever wins this, congratulations.
Hi, guys. My name is Paul Kaufman. To show the care with which Mr. Pasquarello balances his panel, I'm an assistant United States attorney, the opposite side of that. I'm really here, though, because I'm the immediate past chair of the National High School Mock Trial Championships, and that's where I met Phil many years ago. That's where I met Judge Anders many years ago, and my specialty is writing mock trial cases, and I've probably done about 20 of them now. Everybody tells you you're great, you know you're great. I'm just going to focus on a couple of things that maybe you could work on, and I'm going to try to make this applicable to both teams. First, every one of you has great direct examination presence, whether you're there or you're there, you know how to do a direct. The one thing that I would advise is try to simplify those questions. Sometimes you guys need to signpost like I'm transitioning. That's great. That's a positive. When you're not signposting, use as few words as humanly possible to get the question out. How's that? What do you mean? Can you explain? Are complete direct examination questions. And sometimes you guys got so wrapped up in the sort of repetition and I want to say what you just said thing that it stilted the conversation. Sometimes you want to do that, but you don't need to do it every time. And especially at some point, it's really useful to just say, what do you mean? Tell me about that. And just let them continue to be the star. The last time I was in this room, it was to teach in the Young Lawyers Trial Academy, and I taught cross-examination. I have a view that I know is different than some. It's different from your coaches. Phil is looking here going, God, is he going to say the thing I said not to say? No, I'm not. My thing is different. It's a hobby horse. And everybody does it. You guys are probably trained to do it, and I hate it, and I don't think it's actually empowering you. I think it's disempowering you. Almost every cross-examination had somebody saying, okay, but that wasn't my question, right? Let me drag you back to my question. Let me rephrase it exactly the way I try to get you to say exactly my words. You don't need exactly their words. You don't at all. I know that that's what we teach in mock trial. It's like you got to get the answer to your question. No, you don't. What you need is the same thing you need on direct examination. Cross-examination is the same as direct. You are there for facts. And you both have exceptional closing attorneys. You don't need to worry that the jury's not going to get it. You don't need to worry that the jury's going to miss the point. These two are going to make sure that the jury knows the point. All you do when you try to get them to say it exactly your way is you either get them to not say it exactly your way, and now you're into a thing, or you get involved in this weird tug of war. If they want to say something that's 10% different but gets you to the same place, nobody touched you. Nobody's bothering you. You don't need to drag them back anywhere. Just grab it and move on, like you didn't even notice, because they're going to try to do that to you. And when you push back, it can get into that tug of war. It can make them think, oh, it really is. I've got to have it exactly. And you just almost never do if you trust your closing argument attorney. And you both have ample cause to trust your closing argument attorney. So just never even let them see the punch land, right? Like your head doesn't move, you just like not even touched you. Every once in a while you'll get to a point where you absolutely need it or they dodged and didn't answer, and then it's powerful. But even then you can just say, so, and then you just repeat the exact question. You don't have to say, I understand or I appreciate that, or I'm going to redirect you to my question. Just, so, what I just said, right? Okay, cool. And you move on like that.
So as was mentioned, I'm Judge Anders. I've been a judge for 18 years, the last 15 presiding over trials, and all of you did really excellent. And there's just very, very shades of differences between you. Without getting into anyone in particular, I thought you picked the right themes for both of your sides. You delivered that, especially the openings and closings, very directly. You connected with the jury. You had the right kind of tone and demeanor with them. I thought the repositioning was good. Sometimes lawyers don't reposition if they can't see the chart, and that shows engagement with the jury instead of you just like, oh, it's just another case that I'm defending. But I do think that the real standout for me, and you take what you're given during a trial, and in a normal trial, you would not have trophies on the bench. But when you said that they care about trophies, and you point out the trophies, I was just like, wow, that was great. And so that is the dynamism and the creativity that you all will have as lawyers that will bring in that also make it relatable to a jury. So, bravo.
All right. This was the best final round that we've ever had at Battle of the Experts. I am the ultimate arbiter of what is the best final round, and this was it. That is just true. And I want to explain to the people watching and our scoring judges why. I can introduce you to these two teams since your ballots are now in. The plaintiff was represented by the UCLA School of Law and the defense by the Cumberland School of Law in Alabama. These two teams are ranked, these two schools rather, their trial advocacy programs are ranked in the top 6 in US News for trial advocacy programs. And I would suggest that they should be even higher because their results at this event are even better. In the last 8 years, in the entire history of Battle of the Experts, no school has made the playoffs at this tournament more often than UCLA and Cumberland. No school has been in the championship at this tournament more than UCLA and Cumberland. Cumberland was our inaugural champion back in 2018, and UCLA has won this tournament 5 times in a row. And to top it off, this was a rematch of last year's championship trial. And so UCLA and Cumberland own Battle of the
Different
Experts.
law students, hopefully.
Not different law students, Judge. Actually, our expert witness was in the final last year. So, no, actually. So, but mostly different law students. This was an incredible final round. So without further delay, the winner of the 2025 Battle of the Experts and still champion UCLA. And congratulations to our finalists from Cumberland. Excellent job, guys. Congratulations. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next year.
Yeah, it's fun. Yep. Oh, you're welcome. Congratulations.